Hello, students, boys and girls. I hope you're enjoying the topic of mixtures and types of mixtures. Although you all are familiar with these terms now, and maybe you had heard about them before, but then you're now learning about them in detail. Yes? So in chemistry, when we say a mixture, it is different. When we say talk of a pure substance, it is different. When we talk about purity in chemistry, it is different as compared to the normal purity or impurity we are talking about. Yes, that is what you have learned. Then we have done about the homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures, which are the types of mixtures, depending upon whether the components or the parts of a solution or a mixture can be seen or cannot be seen. Yes. So we have done about homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Then we have also done about the solutions, which are homogeneous mixtures. They are true solutions. They are homogeneous mixtures, and we have also seen their properties. Now let us go and see what are the heterogeneous mixtures. There are two types here, suspensions and colloids. Okay, so now we'll be doing about what are suspensions. What is suspension? So suspension is when a solid does not dissolve in a liquid. So if we take a solid, for example, sand, okay, sand, it does not dissolve in water. We'll take simple sand and water. So what happens is sand is not dissolving in water. Yes. Okay. So suspension is when a solid does not dissolve in a liquid, a suspension is formed. It is suspended. It is just suspended. When a solid does not dissolve in a liquid. So it is called as a suspension. Fine. And for example, sand cannot dissolve in water. Sand does not dissolve in water. So the muddy water containing sand will be called as a suspension. So sand is just suspended in water. It is not dissolving. We can see the sand and the water separate. And the water also, it becomes slightly brown in color. So that is sand in water. So it is a suspension. Okay. Now let us see some more examples of suspension would be a hazy environment. If we see a hazy environment like fog in the, when you see on in winters, you can see this fog, or we can say that the environment is very hazy. It is not very clear because of the impurities which are present, all that put together. So it is not very clear. Okay. Then we have medicines. Medicines, they are suspended. That's why they say, shake the bottle before use. It is written on the medicine bottle. Yes or no? It is written saying that shake the bottle before use because it may have suspended particles of the medicine. And if we just drink the, without shaking, what happens is only the top liquid goes as medicine into the body. And the actual, probably the solid which is there in the medicine may not go into the body at all. Okay, so we have to shake the medicine bottle. It may be any medicine bottle. They say shake and use. Similarly, there are other bottles also where you see and it is given as shake the bottle and use. Then we have chalk, dust, and water. So if you immerse chalk dust in water, what will happen? You can see that the chalk will settle down after some time. The chalk settles down, yes. And we see that there is, and we can see the water on top and the chalk below. So medicine, chalk and water. Then Calmine lotion again. Calmine lotion is the lotion which is used, if especially just, it gives a very cooling effect. And suppose we've had some itching, or or some rashes, and also this Calmine lotion is again applied to those areas. So what happens is it gives that cooling effect. And secondly, also this Calmine lotion will have some solids also, so that also has to be shaken and applied. So it is again a suspension. If you allow the Calmine lotion to just leave the bottle like that, you can see that the watery part of the Calmine lotion will be on top and the solids below. So when a suspension is formed, the solute particles remain as large, visible, insoluble solid particles. As I've told you, even in a medicine bottle. So we can see when it settles down, or when we leave the medicine bottle without using. So what happens is the solids, they settle here, and then the top part would be the liquid part of it. That's why again, when we are using the cough syrup or any other medicine, we need to shake the bottle. Okay, so muddy water, very common example is sand in water. So if we leave that water again, sand settles at the bottom, and the water slightly brownish in color, because it still has some clay particles which has mixed with the water, but then the major big particles of sand settle down. Similarly, talcum powder suspended in water. Again, the powder settles. You try to mix for hours together also, but after some time, the talcum powder will settle at the bottom. You see this, it's talcum powder, and the top layer is water. So these are all called suspensions. Suspension in water. Okay. So they are suspended particles. So it is a heterogeneous mixture. Why is it heterogeneous mixture? Because we can see the particles. Yes, we can see these particles, and I can see the suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, because we can see the particles of one of the components. We can see the solid particles. We can see the solute particles. So it becomes the heterogeneous mixture, and they can be, of course, separated easily. Okay. Next. We will see the properties of suspensions. Let us see what are the properties of a suspension. Fine. Now let's see. What are all the properties of the suspensions? So we will, just like we have seen the properties of, a solution. Similarly, we will see properties of suspensions. Okay. So properties of suspension are, suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. Now we know that it is a heterogeneous mixture. And the particles of the suspension can be seen with the naked eye. The particles again can be seen with the naked eye. It's a heterogeneous mixture. And the particles of a suspension can be seen with the naked eye, very important. And the particles of a suspension scatter a beam of light. They also scatter a beam of light. Passing through it and make its path visible. So I told you this was called as the Tyndall effect. Yes. So if we leave a glass of, chalk powder and water, and if I put a torch light on to this suspension or solution or heterogeneous mixture, then the beam of light will pass through the solution, and you can clearly see the chalk particles. So the chalk particles are able to scatter the beam of light. So it's known as Tyndall effect. And the solute particles settle down when a suspension is left undisturbed. So properties are, it's a heterogeneous mixture, number one. Secondly, the particles, so this is number one. Secondly, the particles of the solute can be seen with the naked eye, and they scatter a beam of light, that is they show Tyndall effect, and they settle down. Fourth properties, the particles settle down at the bottom of the container when it is undisturbed. So the suspension is unstable. So they can be separated from the mixture by process of filtration. Fifth is they can be separated by simple filtration. I can get back the sand and water. I can get back the sand. So छलनी use करके हम उसको separate कर सकते हैं. So it is filtration. Simple filtration can be used for separation. So these are the properties of the suspension. Now let's see the second type of heterogeneous mixture, which is a colloid. Okay, it's called a colloid. So now let's see what is a colloid. Colloid is an example. Again, colloid is a heterogeneous, and we'll study as to why it is heterogeneous. Okay. It's a heterogeneous mixture. Colloids. Heterogeneous mixture. And what are the properties of a colloids? Now, we have seen suspensions as one of the heterogeneous mixtures. We have seen homogeneous mixture as a true solution. And now we'll see colloids as again as a heterogeneous mixture. So the particles of a colloid are uniformly spread out throughout the solution. Okay, now not like these suspensions, but here the particles are uniformly spread out throughout the solution. Okay, so that is one of the major properties of a colloid. So if you see example, before we see the properties, if you see the examples, milk is a colloid. A very common example is milk. Okay, how is milk a colloid? Because if you see milk, although it looks or appears to be a true solution, there are certain particles in milk which will settle down. It may be the cream or it may be other particles, but then there will be, it is not a completely, or it is not a homogeneous solution. Okay, so milk is a colloid. Then foams. Foams is, the shaving cream, or which forms the foam, or if we are making, some like if you have seen cold coffee and all, when we are making, we get a foam. So again, those foams are not true solutions, but they are colloids. Then fog or smog. Fog, very common. We see fog during winters. So it's a type of colloid. Okay. Now we will see. So we're saying milk is a colloid, foams are colloids, fog or smog is a colloid. Then detergents. Detergents are all colloids. Detergents, they mix in the water. Once they mix, of course, you feel that it's soap solution or detergent solution, but actually it's a colloid. So there is a difference between the true solution and a colloid. Okay. And then aerogel, then blood is a colloid. Blood, if we see the blood, it will appear to be a true solution, but then it has particles which are, suspended in them. Then paints are colloids, cosmetics are all colloids. So let's see the properties now. The particles of a colloid are uniformly spread throughout the solution. They are uniformly spread. So they appear to be a true solution, but they are not true solutions. Why? Because the particles are relatively small size in size as compared to that of a suspension. They are smaller than suspension particles, but the mixture appears to be homogeneous. The mixture appears to be a homogeneous mixture, but actually a colloidal solution is heterogeneous mixture. For example, milk. So the particles are smaller than that of a suspension, but they are larger than that of a homogeneous solution, true solution, homogeneous mixture of a true solution. Okay, and they are uniformly spread out in the solution, and these colloids, they will show again the Tyndall effect. So when a beam of light is passed through a colloidal solution, then the particles will scatter the the particles of light, and you can see those colloidal particles. Okay, so they show the Tyndall effect. Now, this is the major difference between a true solution and a colloid. A true solution does not show Tyndall effect. A true solution, okay, does not show Tyndall effect. Now, you should know what is Tyndall effect. Whereas a colloidal solution shows Tyndall effect. This is the major difference between a true solution, because a true solution also is a homogeneous mixture. A colloidal solution is actually heterogeneous mixture, but it appears to be a homogeneous mixture because we cannot see the particles with the naked eye, but then it shows Tyndall effect. Okay. Now, let's see what are the properties of a colloid. Now, the properties of a colloid. Once you know the properties, you will be able to differentiate. So, the colloid particles can easily scatter the visible light. As I told you, it shows the Tyndall effect. This scattering of a beam of light is called Tyndall effect after the name of the scientist who discovered this effect. So Tyndall effect, the name is given because the scientist Tyndall had found out, or he discovered about this effect. So the colloidal particles can scatter a beam of light. When a beam of light is thrown on the colloidal solution or is projected onto the colloidal solution, then the particles of the colloid can be seen. Then the Tyndall effect can be observed when a fine beam of light also enters a room through a keyhole. Sometimes we see this, that the room is very dark and I'm sleeping in that room. I don't want any light in the room. But through the keyhole, the sunlight passes through the keyhole and it enters, and I can see the dust particles in that light. They are, moving like this, dancing dust particles. So that is the Tyndall effect. Through a small hole, this happens due to the scattering of light by the particles. So the particles which are there in the air, in the dust particles in the air, they are able to scatter this beam of light which is entering through the keyhole. This effect is known as the Tyndall effect. And they cannot be separated. The colloidal particles cannot be separated by filtration. Suspensions, the particles can be separated through filtration. True solutions, they cannot be separated by filtration. Colloidal solutions also, the heterogeneous mixture, the particles cannot be separated, or the substance cannot be separated using a simple method of filtration. So the only way to differentiate between a true solution and a colloid, because both are appearing to be the same. Yes, both look like homogeneous solutions. Both cannot be separated by filtration, the components. Then what is the difference? The difference is Tyndall effect. So if you're given two solutions and you're asked to find out which is a true solution, which is a colloidal solution, what do? Immediately take a beam of light through a torch also, and just put it on the solutions, the beakers of solution. A true solution, no effect. But a colloidal solution, you can see those particles in the colloidal solution. Okay, so that is how we differentiate a colloidal solution from a true solution. Okay, so you should know these properties of colloids, suspensions, true solutions, because, and you should know what are the major differences between all of them. Right? Okay. Now we will see what are the differences. First, we'll see what is Tyndall effect, to show you more about the Tyndall effect. So if you see here, the Tyndall effect, you're seeing a solution and you're also seeing a colloid, mixture of water and milk. So we know that milk is a colloid by itself. Yes, milk is a colloid. Okay. And a true solution we have taken. So Tyndall effect is the scattering of a beam of light when it by the particles of the solution. What is Tyndall effect? Scattering of a beam of light by what? Who will scatter this light? By particles of a solution. So if the particles of a solution are able to, now we know solution will have solute and solvent. Yes. So if the particles of a solution are able to scatter the beam of light, that means they're showing the Tyndall effect, then it's a colloidal solution. And if they're not able to scatter the beam of light, it is a true solution. It is a homogeneous mixture. Okay. So we have taken here a solution and here a mixture of water and milk. So what happens when a beam of light, this is the beam of light. So if you see here, the beam of light is being scattered by this, but in a true solution, no effect. Okay, here we can see that the mixture of milk and water, the beam of light is able to scatter the particles. The particles of the colloid are able to scatter the beam of light. In this case, they're not able to do it. So this solution becomes a true solution and it is a homogeneous mixture. And whereas colloidal solution, this is a colloidal solution and it is a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, so this is how we differentiate the homogeneous and the heterogeneous mixtures. Now let's see what are the examples of colloids. We'll go and see examples of colloids. What are the various colloids? Now every colloid will have a dispersed phase and a dispersion medium. So colloids will have two parts, dispersed phase and it will have a dispersed medium. Okay. So dispersed phase, now this dispersed phase and medium can be any state of matter, either solid, liquid or gas. So this can be solid or a liquid or a gas. And this also can be solid or a liquid or a gas. So this way we can see the examples of solid in liquid or liquid in solid or liquid in liquid or gas in liquid, liquid in solid. So we can have several examples of colloids. So every colloid will have a dispersed phase. That means they are the particles which are dispersed or which are mixed or in the medium. The medium here is the solvent. The dispersed phase is the solute. Okay. So if we take solid in solid, so it's called as a solid sol type of colloid. So the some colored gemstones, they are solid solutions. Then solid in, and if the solid is a phase, dispersed phase, and the dispersion medium, okay, dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So if we take the medium, it is a liquid, then it is sol, it's called sol. And example, paints. Paints are sols. So there are solids in a dispersion medium. A solid paint, a solid color, a solid dye is mixed in a with the solvent. Then solid in gas. Solid is the dispersed phase, and the solution, the dispersion medium, the medium is a gas. So aerosols, example, smoke and dust. So in the smoke also there are particles. So the solid particles in the gas, in the vapors of that becomes the smoke, and dust, again, dust particles in air is the aerosol. Then liquid in a solid is a gel. It's called as a colloid gel. So what is a gel? Gel is a colloid. And what does it have? Liquid as the dispersed phase, and the medium there is a solid. Example, cheese, butter, jellies, all these are examples. Then liquid in liquid. So both the dispersed phase is also liquid and the dispersed medium is also liquid. So it is an emulsion, it's called. Example, milk, hair creams, these are emulsions. Then liquid in gas, again, is aerosol. We saw solid in gas. There is liquid in gas also. Example, fog, mist, clouds, sprays. Sprays are liquids which are in gases. That's why when you spray, you can also feel that liquid particles, when you spray. Suppose you take a perfume and you spray, you can feel the liquid particles on your body, on the part where you're sprayed. And plus, of course, the gas is there, and the entire perfume or the smell, it spreads out into the entire room. Yes. Then gas in a liquid. Gas in a solid is solid sol. Example, pumic stone, foam, rubber foam. Then gas in a liquid is again foam, froth, whipped cream, soap, lather. When we wash hands with soap, so the soap is giving lather. Yes, that foam. So what does the foam have? It is gas, and but then we are using water, and that is the liquid. Okay. So these are the various examples of colloids. You should know at least one example for each type of colloid. So what are the types of colloids? Solid sol, aerosol, gel, emulsion, aerosol, solid sol, foam. So for each of them, you should know. So this table is important. So try to memorize this table so that if you're asked to give any example, you'll be able to give of the colloids, right? Okay. So as we have seen the parts of a colloid, we have seen that every colloid will have two parts. One is the dispersed particles, yes, and the components, that is the dispersed particles, which is the solute we're talking about, and the dispersing medium, which is the solvent. Of course, they can also be classified into phase and affinity between the phases, but then we are interested only in this part in class 9. So classification of colloids, or the components of the colloids, are dispersed particles, which is nothing but the solute. If we're talking in terms of, parts of a solution. Yes. So colloid is also type of solution, but it is not a true solution, right? So the solution has solute and solvent, but here we are calling the solute as the dispersed phase and the solvent as the dispersing medium. Great. Okay. So now you all know about the properties of true solutions, properties of suspensions, properties of colloids. Now Suspensions and colloids, they come under heterogeneous mixtures, and true solutions, they are examples of homogeneous mixtures. Now we will see what is the difference between all the three. Now this is also very important, because once you know what are the differences between all the three, then it is easy for you to understand and remember also. Okay, so true solution is a homogeneous mixture of solute and solvent. Okay, then it is transparent. We know that it is transparent. And the solute particles are very, very small. They're less than 1 nanometer. This is what we've seen. They're less than 1 nanometer. So true solution. This is a true solution we're talking about. So this is true and a solution. Okay. Then we'll talk about a colloidal solution, and then this is a suspension. This is colloidal, and this is a suspension. So true solution is a mixture of a solute and solvent. Then it is transparent. This is colloidal solution is translucent. Translucent is slightly hazy. Translucent glass you have. Suppose you put oil on paper. So the paper becomes translucent. It is not very transparent then. And suspension is, of course, opaque. Opaque means we cannot see through the suspension. Then the solute particles are less than 1 nanometer. Here the solute particles are between 1 to 100 nanometers. And here the solute particles are more than 100 nanometers. That's why we can see the particles. Then the particles are not visible even with a powerful microscope in case of true solutions. The particles are visible with the help of microscope in case of colloids. Through a microscope, we can see the particles. But in a true solution, we cannot see the particles even with a very powerful microscope. And the particles of suspension, we can see even with the naked eye, because they are more than 100 nanometers in size. Then the entire solution passes through a filter paper and also semi-permeable membrane. So solution, if I pour the sugar solution through a filter paper, completely the solution will go into the other beaker. There will be no particles on the filter paper. Whereas the particles can pass through ordinary filter paper, but not through a semi-permeable membrane. So again, in colloidal solution also, the complete colloidal solution will pass through the filter paper, but in a semi-permeable, that means the membrane which allows a few selective particles to pass through. So the colloidal particles will not pass through the semi-permeable membrane. And here the particles cannot pass either through a filter paper or a semi-permeable membrane. That means on the filter paper, we can collect the particles of the suspension, and the liquid or the solvent will be filtered out. Then the solute particles do not show Tyndall effect. Very, very important in true solutions, which is a homogeneous mixture. These particles, colloidal particles, will show the Tyndall effect. And suspensions again may or may not show the Tyndall effect. Then the particles do not settle due to gravity in case of a true solution. And here also, again, the particles do not settle in a colloidal solution also. And in suspensions, the particles will settle down when left undisturbed. Example, chalk powder in water. Okay, so these are the differences between the three types of mixtures we have seen, out of which true solutions belong to homogeneous mixtures and colloidal solutions and suspensions belong to heterogeneous type of mixtures. Great. So this is the all about the types of mixtures. Now we will be looking into the separation methods or separation techniques, how to separate the components of a mixture, whether it is homogeneous mixture or heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, so till then, you all will have to read the complete chapter till here, and you understand thoroughly what are the types of mixtures and what are homogeneous mixtures, what are solutions, what are the properties of solution. Then again, similarly for suspensions and colloids, what are the differences between suspensions and colloids, and also the differences between all the three. Then you should also know the various types of colloids, solid in liquid or sol, emulsion. So all those again you should know, and you should be able to remember at least one example for each of them. Okay, so I will see you in the next topic. Till then, this is Usha Mangipudi signing off.